Hello and welcome to Stop Bullying with Toley Ranz podcast from Sedona, Arizona, with me, your host, Anke Arrowood. We're so pleased that you can be with us, and when I say we, I mean Toley Ranz and myself. You see, we are determined to stop the epidemic of bullying. And that's why we founded the Toley Ranz Foundation, and I want to talk to you today about this foundation. This foundation's work is focusing on schools, communities, families, and kids of all ages. And that brings me to something a kindergarten teacher sent to me. My students responded with enthusiasm. The psst flooded the room. Kids reacted by correcting each other's speech or behavior. Listening to the audio story while looking at the book's drawings gave even the youngest an opportunity to get to know Toley Ranz. This is what Miss Garcia, a kindergarten teacher in Norfolk, Virginia, said after she implemented the Toley Ranz program in her classroom. And that brings me right away to the point regarding the foundation. And let me give you a few details here. The motivating theme and driving force behind the project is my theme, my motto: reach the soul of a child, transform a life. Yes, I am personally a veteran educator, and for many years I taught in inner city schools where children come to school from home with, first of all, no breakfast and poverty and violence, and have seen the worst. And quite fast after I started teaching in these inner city schools, I realized it was not so much the education, yes, of course, but the underlying need for self-love, self-assurance, self-value and esteem. That is what I needed to create in order to be able to teach and educate them. And that led to a creation of an after-school program which developed into what Toley Ranz is today. So let's ask, who is Toley Ranz? Well, Toley Ranz represents the inner strong voice, strong but small voice within children, to learn to become self-aware and accept responsibilities for their own actions. Toley Ranz is the imaginary character that speaks to children with a soft psst, psst, listen, signalizing that help is on its way when something is not right, when something is wrong or something is up. Toley Ranz encourages and supports and believes in the child. And the Toley Ranz 10-point honor code of conduct is a guide perfectly suited for classrooms, schools, play, and at home. The 3 story books in the series of the Psst, Psst of Toley Ranz are the heading of Stop Bullying with Toley Ranz. This project communicates and manifests and implements the tools and skills that help the child prevent and stop bullying. The message that Toley Ranz conveys, psst, psst, listen to your gut feeling of wrong and right, accompanies everything Toley Ranz. In the foundation, the Toley Ranz mission is not only that it provides opportunities to children that they themselves have the power to boost self-esteem, but it is more that Toley Ranz also provides the tools and the materials and the know-how to parents, teachers, grandparents, schools to implement a tool that is kind of like a bridge to practical and successful learning and productive interactions because it speaks to the soul of the child. Remember, reach a soul or reach the soul of a child, transform a life. I've been there, done that, successfully done that. Let me read what Paul Sheely sent to me. He is the founder of the Learning Strategies Corporation. Anke's clever work teaches children to hear the still small voice within that can guide them to greater understanding of themselves and others. Her character, Toley Ranz, in parentheses, tolerance, is a whimsical character teaching and that helps put the child into communication with their own inner coach. This could be lifelong benefit to their self-esteem, self-determination, and success in the world. Paul R. Sheely, co-founder, Learning Strategies Corporation. So any school, private or public, who wants to implement the Stop Bullying with Toley Ranz project can use the analogy to a quilt patches, because each of the patches in a quilt represents something very special, something meaningful. And that's exactly what we're doing with this program, Toley Ranz Goes to School. It represents values based in skills and attitudes and knowledge. And that combined with all the materials and guidelines and training for staff and teachers and parents, that is how we learn and teach to stand up to bullying. And the materials and the entire project are free of cost, completely free to the schools. So when we reach into the school, in the classroom, then there are more individual or detailed programs like how do we set up a classroom. We don't want to overload children. I rather would like to awaken a child's curiosity and kind of let them ask, what is this? What character is that? What does that mean? And then we as teachers can react to, don't worry about it, it's nothing. You wouldn't like it anyway, or let's talk about that later, but get your books. You know what I'm talking about. So if you don't put so much emphasis on, this is new, we got to learn this, you reach them the other way, I guarantee you. And by placing Toley Ranz posters in strategically in classroom, on walls, and beside a bookboard, or wherever you have space, the questions will arise. Because the posters, I almost want to say, the posters speak to children in their colorful display, and questions arise. And that's how you can go into answering and replying and mentioning and listen. And that is especially for the younger ones. It's very, very interesting. This assists in adjusting the mindset of the children to embrace kindness and mindfulness. And when we look at it, it is all about overcoming fear by not giving in to negative influences. So one very, very important point for schools and teachers: no need for curriculum adjustment. The posters, the colors, the words, they speak for themselves, believe me. And here is a note I received from Dr. Olson Marshall in San Diego. I urge you never to forget how valuable Toley Ranz is, how positive and long-lasting its impact will be. In my opinion, Toley Ranz has application and generalizations to all sorts of deficits in American culture. Manners, racism, egocentrism, and Toley Ranz format places it in a universal type of application. Just hang in there for all those little kids' sake. Dr. Kat Olson Marshall, PhD, San Diego, California. I am extremely grateful to have these encouraging notes. And let me go back to our last podcast in which we detailed, I spoke about mindful meditation moments, the 3M, the 3-step, the 3 M's. It is an approach to stop bullying in that, it's just part. It is a part of the key to stop bullying. So let me go into the details and those profound, the profound impact it can have when you implement those 3 M's. That is the mindful meditation moment. Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? What can mindfulness do for a student or for anybody, for your child at home? First of all, it reduces stress. It's improving the ability to lessen stress. It increases focus. It improves ability to pay attention, to focus and concentrate. It also can improve emotion regulation, meaning that the child's impulsiveness is reduced. It improves the child's behavior, like lessens rowdiness or suspensions. So in the overall emotion regulation is absolutely present when we meditate, being mindful. Increased emotional intelligence. What does that mean? It improves conflict resolution skills. That's something we all want to have our children to learn and know. Conflict resolution skills. So a meditation, a mindful meditation, means that it increases emotional intelligence. But what a meditation also does is it increases empathy and respect. That means children begin to understand themselves better, therefore also others. They also learn to increase their own capacity to overcome challenges. Not problems, challenges.